As you all know, laptops are expensive, especially the gaming ones, which is why I made this video to help ease the process of finding that perfect laptop. So without further ado, these are the 5 things you should know before buying a gaming laptop. We're going to start off with the most important thing to check, which is the wattage or the TGP of your GPU. The total graphic power of your GPU determines how much performance you're going to get out of your graphics card. This is an important thing to check because even though the website may state that there's an RTX 3080 inside your laptop, there is still no guarantee that you'll get the full performance of a 3080. For example, a 3070 with a high TGP can easily outperform a 3080 with low TGP. The reason why manufacturers do this is because GPUs with lower wattages produce less fan noise at the cost of performance. Some NVIDIA graphics cards are labeled Max Q. If you see this label, it usually means that the GPU has a lower wattage in an effort to reduce fan noise. Be also on the lookout for the term Max P. Even though it isn't an official term, it is often used to label laptops that have high wattage. One example of a Max P laptop is Alienware X17. If you're planning on buying that laptop, you don't need to worry about wattage since the 3080 on that laptop has a TGP of 165, which is the highest TGP for a 3080 mobile. If you're planning on buying any other gaming laptop from another manufacturer, just be sure to check before committing to a purchase. Thankfully, NVIDIA now requires laptop manufacturers to disclose how much wattage is used for their GPUs, so with enough investigation, it shouldn't be too hard to figure it out. While a laptop will never be as upgradable as a desktop, it is still a good thing to know how upgradable your laptop can be. Some laptops allow you to change the hard drives. Sometimes they even have multiple slots for SSDs, and on some occasion, the RAM can also be replaced. It's good to know these things beforehand because you don't want your laptop becoming obsolete just because you don't have enough RAM. Knowing that you have the ability to upgrade your storage is important too, since it's cheaper just to buy your own storage separately. Manufacturers charge a lot of money for pre-installed storage and RAM because they want to take advantage of those who don't know or are unwilling to open up their laptops. A $2,000 laptop can easily turn into a $4,000 laptop if you decide to equip it with 4 terabytes of storage and 64 gigs of RAM on their website instead of opening up the laptop yourself. Before buying a laptop, make sure to know how to open it, what tools you need, how many open slots it has, and also be sure to check for compatibility. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you buy a Gen 4 NVMe SSD only to find out that your laptop only supports Gen 3. Also, don't buy RAM and SSD at full price if you don't have to, since these components frequently go on sale. It's good to know how much RAM you're going to need for your laptop. Lately, I've noticed many gaming laptops coming out with 64 gigs of RAM. While this number might look good on paper, 64 gigs of RAM is completely unnecessary for a laptop. My theory is that laptop manufacturers are selling this much RAM in the hopes of making extra money off of naive customers. If you're planning on using your laptop just for gaming, then 16 gigs of RAM is enough. As of right now, there are no games that require you to have 32 gigs or 64 gigs of RAM. If you don't know how much RAM you will need for your computer, then I suggest following this rule. If your laptop allows you to upgrade your RAM, then start at 16. After a few years, when games become more demanding, you should upgrade to 32 gigs, and by the time you upgrade, RAM will be a lot cheaper. Now, if the laptop that you want to buy doesn't have replaceable RAM, the RAM is soldered in, I suggest just going with the 32 gig option. That way your laptop is future-proof. So it's better to be safe than sorry in case 16 gigs proves to be obsolete in a few years. Be sure to also remember that RAM speed is just as important as RAM capacity. So don't get 64 gigs of RAM that runs slow. If the laptop that you're planning on purchasing has DDR4 RAM, then you should be safe in terms of speed. If you do end up purchasing your own RAM, remember that dual channel is a lot better than single channel. Instead of buying a single stick of 16 gigs of RAM, it is better to purchase two 8 gig sticks. Be sure to know the resolution and refresh rate of the screen before buying a laptop. The refresh rate is important because it determines how many FPS games will be allowed to run at. Do not buy any laptop that has a refresh rate of 60, even if the screen is 4K, because that would mean every single game you play on it will be limited at 60 FPS, so you won't be able to go beyond that. Any screen that has a refresh rate beyond 120 should be good enough, even though it's unlikely that AAA games will be able to go beyond 120. The real benefit of having a high refresh rate is in older titles or esports games. Since the requirements on those games are less demanding, you should be able to easily get the FPS at triple digits. While it is tempting, a 4K panel isn't worth it in laptops because you'll have trouble finding games that could run natively, and even if you do find games that could manage 4K, you would hardly notice the difference on a 15-inch or 17-inch screen. 1440p laptops are a good balance because they offer the high refresh rates of a 1080p panel while also getting the quality that a 4K screen offers. I would also avoid OLED screens. While not many laptops offer it, it is still a risk because it could lead to burn-in depending on how you use your laptop. If you want your laptop to have the longest battery life possible, I would avoid 4K screens or refresh rates beyond 300 Hz because they impact battery life negatively. If the laptop that you want to buy has NVIDIA Optimus, this usually means it will have a better battery life. This is because NVIDIA Optimus deactivates the GPU when it's not in use, and when you launch a game, the GPU is activated again. While this process does increase battery life, it does reduce performance when you're using the laptop's internal monitor. So if you use an external monitor, your laptop's performance would return to normal. Only go for NVIDIA Optimus laptops if you're really concerned about battery life. You should double check the size of the laptop to make sure that's what you want, and if you're willing to commit to that. While it may not appear as important, the size of the laptop can affect many aspects of the computer's design. Most laptops have 15-inch screens. This is very common because it allows for portability and smaller power bricks. That smaller form factor comes at a cost. Since the components are squished inside the laptop, it will lead to higher temps. Some laptop manufacturers even lower the performances on their smaller laptops to prevent them from getting too hot. The most recent example I can think of this happening is with the new Alienware X15 and X17. Even if you buy the version where they have the same specs, the X17 will have much better performance and temperatures because they lowered the wattage on the X15 to prevent overheating. The X17 version also has replaceable RAM slots and extra ports on the laptop. In exchange, the X17 version isn't as portable with the larger size and has a larger power brick due to that increased performance. This is why it's important to check the differences between the sizes of the laptops before purchasing so that you can know what trade-offs you'll get based off of the different sizes. Hopefully that influenced your purchasing decisions. If you follow the advice on this video, you should be able to find a decent gaming laptop that fits your needs. If you have any questions about the 5 topics discussed in this video, be sure to comment down below.